Welcome to the podcast Stress Less, Live More. I'm Barry.
And I'm Laura. And today we're going to be talking about what's the difference between burnout and stress, because there is a difference. And I think we're hearing more and more now, Baz, I don't know about you, that, oh, I'm so burnt out. And we need to understand that there is an actual difference between burnout and stress.
It's one of those gimmick names that everyone's getting latched onto. I say gimmick. It's one of them words that people are getting latched onto, and they're using it as like a get out clause. Oh, I'm just so burnt out. If you're burnt out, you know you're going to be burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think knowing the difference between stress and burnout is going to be the difference between turning it around or actually full on crashing. And Gary Vaynerchuk has been talking about this just recently. And he did a post on Instagram, and he was mainly talking to a lot of the younger generation, I know, because a lot of them are saying, oh, I'm so burnt out. And it's they're just a bit tired. And I think it's really important that we have this actual distinction, because a lot of people don't know, well, what is the difference between stress and burnout? And then they kind of just like jumble it together.
I think it's the same thing. When it's not stress, we need stress in our life. We don't need burnout in our life. And I think that's the most important thing here. Stress is a fundamental thing that we all have to have in our human being lives. But burnout, no, we don't want to be going there.
No. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break down kind of quick definitions so you can understand, oh, right, that's stress and that's burnout. Got it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dive even deeper into this.
Even deeper.
And we're going to have a look at the 3 different stages of stress, chronic stress and burnout.
Yes.
And then we're going to go even deeper. Join me.
Even deeper.
And we're going to look at what you can do to combat each area. And by the end of this, you are going to have a clear picture of, oh, actually, I'm just in stress. That's not too bad. I can deal with this. Or you can go, oh, okay, I'm in chronic stress. I need to, sort something out. Or actually, I'm in burnout, and yeah, I really need to address this.
Yes.
So we'll dive into that. But I've got some stats for us. Would you like to hear them?
Go on, please.
So, according to the worldmetrics.org 2024 report, 30% of entrepreneurs report being constantly stressed.
I think that number is getting higher as the weeks go on.
Yeah, the amount of people I speak to. I mean, if you're a business owner listening and that's you, type stress in the comments. A Forbes article reports that 50% of business owners say stress and mental health issues are affecting the success of their business.
100%.
Wow, that's big. Like literally half of people who run a business.
Can you imagine what their business would be like if they learned to manage stress? And where would their business be now? How would it be growing?
Yeah. And then from a report we found, it also states that 45% of entrepreneurs say they experience burnout. Mm-hmm. And 45.8, don't forget the point, say that entrepreneurs struggle with high stress. And these stats matter, because if you look at this, so 50% of business owners say their stress and mental health issues are affecting the success of their business, right? As business owners, especially small to medium sizes, there's no sick days. There's no fallback on this at all whatsoever.
No annual leave.
There's no annual leave. There's none of that at all. We haven't got that safety net there of, being able to take that time. And I think that also adds to the pressure of that stress as well.
100%. Can't take time off work because you need to put all your work in, and you've got clients and you feel guilty for your clients that you're serving. Because remember, we serve the people that serve people, don't you?
We do.
And that's what it's about. And you do feel guilty, but sometimes you got to put yourself first.
Yeah, and that's why I think this episode is so important.
Yeah.
Because if we can start to recognise stress, our triggers, how it shows up, we can stop it getting to chronic stress and then burnout. Because again, we always say this podcast is for you, right? I truly believe that small to medium sized business owners, whether it's in the UK or the USA, are the backbone of this country. We need them, right? But also what's more important for me from a personal level is what you do in your role in terms of your business is important. You've got a gift, you've got a talent. I mean, just look at Ben and Rach, who, you know, produce this podcast for us, right? We need them in our lives because they help us to get this message over. So if they're not running optimally and they're burning out, then they can't do this for people. And we would never get this message to you. So this is why it's so important to understand the difference between stress and burnout so we never get to burnout.
Well said, Loz.
Was
I
that a
like
bit of
that. You was on a mission then, mate.
I was on a mission.
You was proper preaching that message.
Preach it. I know. Stephen Furtick could be proud of me. All right. So, Baz, I know you have a little analogy about stress and burnout in relation to cars.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you get a warning light on your car.
Yeah.
Flash, flash, flash. And you go, oh, that's stress.
We've all had
Stress
that.
is just the warning light on the car. The car still runs, but you know there's something going on underneath the hood that needs its attention. Burnout is when the engine seizes up, basically, and you cannot go. That engine is rock solid, it's not going to get you anywhere. So stress, you can still function. Burnout, you are not going to function. Your whole engine's seized up.
I'm going to take the metaphor even further. Can I do it?
I don't know. Have a go.
So if you think about the car and the warning light, it comes up.
Flash, flash, flash.
Maybe the oil light that comes up, right? And you don't know how to change the oil. You don't know what kind of oil you need.
Are you explaining what you're like?
What do? Do you ignore it or do you take it to the garage? And I think this is the thing. People are not getting help. They're just pushing through. They're thinking it won't last forever kind of thing. But as you've just explained, burnout is crash and no one wants no oil in the engine because it doesn't go, right?
Seizes up, ain't going to go.
You're
Need a new
always
engine.
paranoid about that, aren't you?
Because I'm the only one that checks the oil in the car.
So
yes.
Right then, let's just do very quick definitions so that we kind of know where we're going with all this. So stress vs burnout. Stress for me is where you are feeling a little bit under pressure, right?
Yep.
You can get through, you can manage it, but you're a little bit under pressure. You might feel a little bit of anxiety, right?
Which is good.
Which is good. You might feel a little bit of overwhelm, which is fine as well.
Yep.
But you're kind of getting through, but you are feeling that pressure. Would you agree?
Yeah, you can see there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that one?
Yeah.
And it's manageable. It's within your coping mechanism, coping ability.
Yeah. And you might have hyper focus with all of this.
Yep.
And we will do another episode where we will talk about different categories of stress. So we'll talk about like EU stress, distress, tolerable. We'll do all that in another episode anyway.
I want to talk about it now, but...
No, don't. It's not on my list. Please don't do that. And burnout is complete depletion. Literally, you don't care about money, about relationships, about your business. It's gone. Literally.
You don't even care about having a wash.
No.
Personal hygiene, out the window.
Yeah, it really can. And you can get disassociation as well. So you can feel really disassociated with everything in your life and you feel emotionally numb to everything. There's no hyperfocus anymore. There's no anxiety. There's no headaches. There's nothing, any of that. It's just, I have got nothing else left to give. It's that complete depletion.
Yeah, trouble colouring in, didn't you?
Yeah, do you know what? When I hit burnout,
it was the only thing you did, wasn't it? Was you just about managed to do some colouring in?
I mean, you know that saying about the straw that breaks a camel's back?
Yeah.
Is that it? The straw went on the camel's back and it literally broke it, to the fact that I couldn't even think about getting dressed. I couldn't even watch TV or listen to the radio.
Too much stimulus.
Because it was just too much. Like literally I was like, I can't cope with that. I can't even comprehend it. You know, it was just too much noise in my head.
And I think that's a really good point that you make there, what you couldn't do. But when you're stressed, that's all you want to do, isn't it? You just want to sit down and watch TV, switch off, disassociating from the stressor. But when you get to that point of burnout, you can't even do those things because that's too much stress, too much stimulus coming into your life. And the whole body and the mind just shuts down.
Yeah. So that's just a very quick definition to kind of for you to see like the surface level, shall we say, surface level.
Surface level's good.
We've done a little bit of stats. You've given your amazing analogy about the car. But what we'd love to do now is let's just dive a little bit deeper.
Deeper. Do we do it again? Deeper.
And I want to look at the 3 different kind of areas. So we're going to kind of look at top level stress.
Yep.
And then we can go into more chronic stress, and then we'll look at burnout. So let's have a look then at just like normal stress, kind of like surface level, because we all need some level of stress in our lives.
Stress is good. Stress gets us to the point of where we want to get to. It gives us to the destination. Because if we didn't have the stress, we wouldn't have the drive, would we? No. To actually just push through.
And with stress, I see it as very symptom-based stuff in terms of, you are just pushing through, to get this project done. You are drinking coffee to keep you awake. You are feeling guilty about taking time off. You do have a busy diary. You might start to have things like headaches, just from where you're like squinting at the screen or, tense muscles or whatever. You might experience a little bit of, bloating, that kind of thing, from a little bit of irritable bowel sometimes.
Sleep's going to be a big one there as well. You're going to have disrupted sleep.
Yeah, and I think the problem with this kind of stage, especially as a business owner, it is about hustle is glorified.
I don't like that word. Hustle. Yeah. It's the thing that causes us to go past stress. This hustle. We are getting pushed to do more, have more, work harder to get those things. But I think we need to be working smarter. I think smarter is a better word than being hustled.
Yeah, and in this stage as well, you believe that stress will go after that project.
It's like, I remember, it reminds me of a journey I did, a London Brighton bike ride.
Yeah.
And you go up the Ditchling Beacon Hill. And every time you get to a corner, you think you're at the top. But every time you get round that corner, the hill just keeps going. You get to another corner, it goes around again. And it's like, there's no end to this hill. Everyone was saying it was really bad. And I was like, yeah, it's just a hill. I'll cycle up it. But literally every corner, there was another hill after it. And I think that's where people get to when they think I'm stressed. I'll just get round that bend and it will be over. No, it's not. The hill just keeps going.
Yeah.
Then there'll be another bend, then another bend. I'll just have a holiday. I'll just take time off. And it doesn't end. It just keeps coming at you.
And I think that's when a good analogy for when we hit chronic stress.
Exactly.
Maybe you've gone round the corner, you're like, oh, no. And then you go around the other corner, and then those corners just keep going. It becomes the worst hill, right? It's
that sign where you go, round that corner, I'm going to have the stress. It's going to be gone. And you go, and you start to relax and you go, it's not. It's still there because I've got to get to the next corner. Yeah. And then you keep having these points where you go, it's going to be over in a minute, but it never does. It just keeps coming. And that's what pushes you into that chronic stress.
Yeah.
When that stress button is being constantly pushed down and all of those chemicals in our body are being just dumped all the time in our body. And we can't get away from it.
And this is where the stage with chronic stress that I feel that our body is demanding a rest, because you've been like the next project, the next thing, the next project. And this is when your body will start to give you more and more signs. And this is where you'll get brain fog. You might start to lose your, memory for things. We all know what that feels like. You might have that emotional exhaustion within you. You might start to feel a bit more resentment about your work and what you're doing as well. That can really hit that phase too, can't it?
But even if before we get to stress or chronic stress, our body's always talking to us.
Yeah.
And we've lost that ability to connect back to our body. Because if we quieten this mind down enough, you can listen to your body. It's always talking to you. It's always telling you what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us have lost that ability because we are so hyper-focused, as you put it, on the task that we got. And the next task, and the next task, and next task. And we get this massive disassociation between our mind and our body.
And if you think about chronic stress as well, when we get to that phase, have you ever known somebody that is always sick, always got a cold, always got a flu, always got a virus,
One
something
too many
like
people,
that?
I'd say.
Yeah. That could be a sign of chronic stress, because when we are chronically stressed, there are so many things in our body that are compromised including our immune system. I mean, let's not go into the whole endocrine system thing because we'll do that in another episode. But, you know, even like with cortisol, it's almost like it's getting used so much in our body. I almost see it like our body is rusting from within.
Mm-hmm. It's like being a diabetic with the stress hormone.
Yeah, and you also feel constantly behind. Like no matter what you do, you always feel like you are constantly behind with everything. And this is where, again, more sleep problems come up, more digestion problems come up. We might even be experiencing things like actually being sick or having, you know, sort of problems going to the toilet. You know,
Weight loss, weight gain.
Yeah.
All symptoms.
Yeah, even skin issues can come up.
Hair issues, loss of hair.
Yeah.
There's so many. Every system in our body is going to be under stress. And if we look at our body as a set of systems, and every single system is taking more load on to deal with all of these problems, and we're not addressing them.
Yeah.
Then at one point they're going to say,
Yeah.
no more. We're going to shut this system down.
Yeah, and then that's when we get to burnout.
Yep. Shut down.
Burnout is you do not have a choice. It's happening. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's happening.
But don't you think it's fascinating, Loz, how clever this body is? We think the mind is the most important part, but it doesn't matter how much overthinking or overriding of the bodily systems, it'll get to a point where the body goes, no, you're listening to me now. I'm going to shut this. I nearly swore then. Shut this house down. We're going to shut this house down, you know?
And when you get to burnout, literally, you can't do anything. Like, have you ever been at your laptop and you've gone, and you can't think of what you need to do? Mm-hmm. Or that really simple thing that you've always done, you've gone,
don't know.
And you just don't know. But again, it's that complete apathy.
But we laugh about it, but it's really serious.
Yes.
It is a serious thing because we don't want anyone to experience it. But if you do experience burnout, we want you to say it's the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to learn so much about yourself when you go through burnout, especially if we teach you what to do with burnout.
And that stat we spoke about, 45% of business owners experiencing burnout. You know, again, we joke, we have a little giggle about it, #business owner life, you know, all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But it is pretty serious because that's when it can ruin lives, it can ruin businesses, it can ruin relationships, everything, can't it? Yeah. I know people that have got in financial debt because of it. I know people now who have lifelong illnesses because of it. Mm-hmm. I even know people that have gone blind from burnout, and I'm not even joking. Like literally in one of their eyes they went blind because of burnout. I know people that have been in the hospital because of suspected heart attacks because of burnout, and their first thought is, how am I going to get that report in on Monday morning? Right? And so, you know, we've got all of this stuff going on, but I think it's really great for us to be able to see, right, stress is where we're starting to feel the pressure. That's okay. A little bit of anxiety. I'll get over it. It's going to be okay after the next bit. Then we go into chronic stress, where it's like, as you say, it's like all of these things.
Amber lights are starting to come on the dashboard.
Amber lights are starting to come on. We're getting colds. We're getting aching bodies. You know, we're getting brain fog, that kind of thing. And then burnout is complete shutdown. Engine has seized. Absolutely. Complete and utter. And I know for me, experiencing all this, like you were saying to me, Loz, you're stressed. Like you need to slow down. You need to take some time for yourself. And I was like, no, I have to do this. This is important. It's got to work. I need to be able to make this work. I was getting stressed. I wasn't sleeping. I was burning the candle at both ends. I was getting sick. I was having headaches, but I still kept pushing because I was like, I just need to get over this little bit. I just need to do this campaign.
Just get to the next corner. Just get to the next corner. Just get to the next corner. And I'll be real honest. I see you doing that still. We're experts in the field, but you can still get pulled into that chronic stress zone. And that's why we always say, accept and acknowledge what's going on. Create that space there so we can understand it. Because otherwise it's so easy just to get pulled into that work, the stress of it, and not listen to your body. You're going to go there again. And I see it so often, but you got good insight. You get to that point and you stop.
Yeah.
and then you pull yourself back again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely. And you have got to have that awareness. And we're going to move on in a second to what you can do in these 3 stages as well, because you might be starting to think, oh my gosh, yep, yep.
especially if you love what you do, that's when it's really easy to get pulled in, isn't it? When you really love and you're passionate about making change and helping people out, but you've got to help yourself out first.
Yeah, definitely.
You come first every single time.
Yeah, I know we kind of gloss over and we go, oh yeah, I know this analogy, but it's the, the mask on the aeroplane before you can help anybody else.
Yeah.
But it truly, truly is. So yeah, if you've been going, yep, to any of these, then we've got you covered, okay? We are going to go through some of these little ways that you can start to get back a little bit of control, right? But before we do that, we just want to remind you that we also have our burnout self-assessment, because that's really important to kind of put this in here.
You've got to do it. If you haven't done it already, you've got to do the burnout self-assessment. It take you 2 minutes, probably 2 minutes maximum, really, isn't it? And it's going to give you so much insight into your mental, physical, and emotional health.
Definitely. So there you go. Right, let's move on then to this next part where we can give you a few things that you can do to manage stress, chronic stress, and burnout. So let's have a look at, first of all, stress. Kind of, I say surface level, like top level, do you know what I mean? It's a little bit of pressure, but we are managing, right? And I think the most important thing to know here is this. Ready? It's about
I'm ready.
regulation, not removal. And I'll say that again. It's about regulation, not removal. For this reason, we're never going to get rid of stress. It's never going to happen, right? But what it's about is about how you manage it and how you regulate yourself within it and how you process it.
Do you think that's what we're trying to do in life? Trying to eliminate stress. And then we're getting stressed about the stress, which is pushing us into chronic stress. Do we expect a life to be lived without any stress?
Yeah.
Because that's what we see on socials.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the Bahamas again, next to my Ferrari, which is parked on top of my yacht, next to my helicopter. There's no stress in that at all, is there?
Yeah. And you're right. It's that expectation vs reality. And I think sometimes when we just acknowledge and go, actually, I am going to experience some stress, and that's okay.
And that automatically pushes the stress levels down a little bit. It's like, whew, I can breathe now because, I'm meant to be feeling this. Stress is the good thing in our life.
And I think when we're at this stress state, it's more of a lifestyle approach we've got to do. So not just like exercise and nutrition and sleep, we've got to think about lifestyle within our business. So taking short breaks, making sure you're delegating things, having boundaries in terms of when you put your phone down, when you put your phone down in the evening, right? And not looking at it anymore, because there are studies to show that when you get a notification on your phone and you're not expecting it and you look at it, it takes you 20 minutes to get back to, that relaxed state again, right? To focus on what you were doing. So just think about that, right?
So as soon as you get in the bedroom, put it on airplane mode so then you can't look at them.
Well, I always say as well, let's just talk about this very, very quickly. I always say you've got to be careful who you invite in your bedroom. So if you are on LinkedIn in the evening and you're looking at people, you are essentially inviting those people into your bedroom, into your private space.
Is that why you read Matthew McConaughey's book every night?
And The Rock and Christian Bale and all these sorts of people. So that's that one, okay? So then when we start looking at chronic stress, this is where you really need to start to address your workload, right?
Yes.
And you really need to start to look at what is actually going in my body in terms of, am I getting chronic things? And when we talk about chronic things, that's about things that are coming up in your body consistently over time. And you're probably looking at a period, I would say, ballpark 3 to 6 months. Like, what are the things that keep coming back for you? Is there that cold you can't get rid of? This kind of thing.
I think that's one of the first signs. So the physical symptoms that you are going into chronic stress, because we can actually feel them, can't we? Are you Are your joints aching? Are you not sleeping properly? Are you getting coughs and colds and run down? Are your energy levels starting to be sort of a bit depleted? You can't focus as well as you used to.
Yeah.
All of these things are like the physical symptoms, which are a lot easier to identify than the emotional ones or the mental side of things.
And sometimes it can be difficult, right, to actually notice what's going on. And so we want to share with you the CALMS method. And the CALMS method is something that we actually teach within one of our retreat days called the Energy Reset Retreat. And we're just going to share with you the acronym CALMS, CALMS, because it's going to help you to just get in touch with your body and ask your body what it needs, because that's what we don't do. We don't ask our body what it needs. We are more focused on what we think we need to do. Like, oh, yeah, I need to journal, or, oh, I need to do a meditation. It's like, yeah, but is that what your body actually needs right now? And so it's important to go within you to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a look at this. So C stands for conscious. And that's where you just start to be conscious. Hang on a second, something is going on. And that's it.
Got to go in. The change starts from going inside of you, because we are so focused, we are hyper focused on the external world. Mm-hmm. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to help? But as soon as we stop that and we go in and we become conscious about what's happening within our body, we're opening ourselves up to see how we can help ourselves.
Yeah. And the next one is A for ask. And this is where...
This is a difficult one, isn't it?
Go on then.
I think this is really difficult, because how often do you actually talk to yourself?
Well, I mean, I generally speak to myself every day, because you don't really listen to me.
But you're not talking to yourself. You are just reaffirming things that are going,
yeah.
Why am I so this? Why am I so that? Why am I feeling this? Why am I... You're asking yourself questions. But what about asking questions about what's going on within my system?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So asking, what do I want? What does my body need?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think sometimes we can even go down, if you're a really good person who visualizes, it's like, where in my body do I feel that? Like, is it in my chest? Is it in my head? And if it is, like,
What does it look like?
Is it a colour? Is it shape? What does it look like? Maybe even give it a name. I don't know.
Does it move? Is it static? Is it solid? What is it? A gas? And it's trying to put a visualizational thing on where you're feeling the stress. So if you are feeling stressed, where am I feeling that stress?
Yeah.
Is it in my chest? Yes, in my chest. Okay, I can hear that. Yes, in my chest. What is it? Is it got a colour? Oh, it's blue.
Yeah.
Is it got a shape? No, it's sort of a mixture. It's sort of swirly. So we're asking these questions to find out, what is it? What does it look like? And what does it feel like within my system?
Yeah. And then you must listen to it. You must listen to it. That's the next one, L for listen to it.
Be quiet.
Exactly. Because if you don't listen to it, then there's no point. But more important, you need to listen to it, okay? And we need to be able to then say to it, how do you want me to move?
Or metabolize.
And metabolize, because we need to move and metabolize this stress. And that's when it might say, can we do some journaling? Can we do a to-do list? Can we go for a walk? Can we scream into a pillow, right?
Can we find a punch bag and beat the...
What have we had people do before? We've had people swim before. We've had people do lunges,
hill
push-ups,
sprints, screaming into a pillow.
Yeah.
That actually...
Throw something.
Yeah.
Love it. All those sorts of things, because you've gone into your body. And then you go to S, which is to see if you've completed the stress response cycle. And we'll talk about this a bit more on another episode. But this is where I just want you to go back in and check.
Because
right?
stress actually sits within our system.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't metabolize stress, it stays within our system and it can fester. And I believe that's where all of our diseases come from, but that is for another episode.
Definitely. So calm, CALMS, that's how we're able to process it. And that's how you can be able to manage your stress and your chronic stress, right? Because we're going within. How do you manage burnout then? Because
none of that.
None of it.
None of it. None of it. If you got burnout, you need to stop. Your body's already shut you down. And we need to take time.
Yeah.
And I think we try to fix it all in one go, but it's small steps.
This is so counterintuitive, because it's not about fixing anything at this stage. I see so many people that go, oh, I burnt out, so I did meditation, I did journaling, I I don't know, walks in nature. But the problem is you're still doing, you're not being.
Yeah.
And we are human beings, not human doings. And that's where we need to start reconnecting with the things we love the most in life, because that's what we help our clients do. When they come to us in a state of burnout, there's no fancy things. I'm giving away some of our secrets here. But the one thing that we want them to do is find enjoyment outside of work, right?
Reconnect with yourself.
Reconnect. That's what it's all about when it comes to burnout, is reconnect.
And then you start thriving. It's not about survival, it's about thriving after that.
Absolutely.
But we have to stop. We can't do it all to get better. We have to take a step back and just, what do I need to do? Let's connect.
So we've talked about a lot, and I want to go on to the reflection questions in a second to really help you. So we've talked about a quick definition: what is stress, what is burnout. We've gone through the 3 types. So we've gone through stress, chronic stress, and burnout. And then we've gone through, what are some of the things that you can do. But we want to give you some extra reflection questions, don't we? So do you want me to read these out?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay then. So number 1 for you: what is the smallest thing you could take off your plate right now that would give you more breathing room? One thing. And it could even be small, like taking the bins out, which Barry already does. Next one is, if I woke up tomorrow and my business disappeared, would I feel relief or panic? Oh. If it's relief, right, you're probably past stressed and into burnout. That's really
that's dipping that toe into burnout, isn't it? That's dipping that toe in there.
Yeah. And the last one was, when was the last time you felt joy, excitement, or genuine motivation in your work? If you can't remember, you might be further along the burnout line than you think.
There's another toe in there.
Yeah.
Another toe in there.
Some reflection questions for you to think about and answer.
Q&A time?
Let's do Q&A
right.
time.
Do you want me to do the Q&A this time?
Go on then.
Right, so we got a question here from Naomi from Bristol. Hi, Naomi.
Hello, Naomi.
So she wants to know, how do I stop myself reaching burnout when I have to keep working?
Good question.
Very good question.
Because what did we speak about at the very beginning? We don't have sick pay. We don't have annual leave. How do we keep going? And I think with this one, we need to just address how we're working. Not what we're doing, but how we're working at the end of the day.
Yeah. Our work ethics.
Yes. But I think also we've got to look at why we're working in the way we're working, why we're overworking, why we're neglecting ourselves. And usually for people that are burning out, it's because they're overachievers, they're perfectionists, and they feel they've got something to prove, right? And a lot of that comes from quite deep-seated stuff. So yes, we need to keep working, but I think we need to address how we're working. What would you say?
100%. 100% agree with you, Loz. Not just because you're my wife, but and I know my place, but it's about how we're doing things. It's not about how much work we do. It's about the quality of the work we do. And there's a stigma attached about being busy all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just going to do another hour. I'm just going to do another hour because it makes me look good. Because I think other people are seeing me how busy I am. It makes me a better business person. It makes me more productive, but it doesn't. More important,
more successful.
But it's not about how many hours we're actually working. It's about how you're looking after yourself before you're doing that work.
Yeah. I would say also for Naomi as well, focus on energy management vs time management. So energy management is looking at your energy, what you have for the day, and looking at the tasks that you've got up. So if you're like having a day where you're like, I really don't have a lot of capacity, don't do any big stuff, do small admin bits. And then notice the times where you do have more energy, and that's when you tackle those big bits. So time management vs energy management. Get rid of time management, it don't work.
Yeah, 100%.
So there you go. So if you have any questions that you would love to send in to us, please do, because this podcast is all about you. It's not about me and Barry. We are here to help you obviously stress less and live more. So make sure you send those over to lauraash@rocksolidhealth.co.uk. That's lauraash@rocksolidhealth.co.uk. But also remember that we've got the Burnout Self-Assessment, right? We've had almost 950 people go through the Burnout Self-Assessment. It's so easy to do. And we're going to ask you a lot of the questions that we've spoken about here in this episode that will help you realise and understand where you might be along the burnout and stress cycle.
Well, that just leads me to say thank you so much for listening and watching this show. Remember, you've got one life, live it, make it count, and we'll see you next time.